Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by a host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving back into storytime with Cosplay Dude 637. Cosplay Dude 637 is my power time, my business partner, and my best friend. And he has a segment called Storytime. It was originally a podcast, but due to the fact that he has other projects and other storylines, we put Storytime onto this channel. And he's now keeping it ongoing. At this moment in time, this specific storyline that you're listening to is actually being re-uploaded from the podcast. But here we are with Sword Art Online, a fanfiction, of course, and this is a storyline that Cosplay Dude is, of course, madly in love with, and he had to dive into making a fanfiction of it. So, without further ado, I give you Cosplay Dude 637. Sword Art Online. Dark Forest. Chapter 6. Beloved Baldur.
After we obtained Asuna's new wand, we had heard nothing more about Loki or Ragnarok. For 2 weeks, we all were on high alert waiting for something to happen, but it never came. Maybe I was wrong, Rowan says. If freeing Loki was not the start of Ragnarok, why was he in the game? Sion asked, tapping her fingers on the table. I don't know. I mean, the game is mostly based in Norse mythology, so maybe he was always going to be part of the game? Ruin retorted. Everyone turned and looked at me. I was standing by the window looking out with my arms crossed, deep in thought. Kiri Dog, what do you think? Klein asks me. Before I could answer, Yui pops out of my pocket and turns into her human form. Papa, someone is here, she says, looking at the front door. No sooner did she finish her sentence, a soft knock came on the door. I look out the window to see a woman standing there, covered in a brown cloak. The hood was up, so I could not see her face. Asuna got up and answered the door. Yes? Can I help you? I would like to speak to you and your friends, if I can, sweet fairy, says a sweet and kind female voice. Asuna nods and steps to the side, letting the woman in. With a grace like I had never seen before from a woman, she walks into the center of the living room. She slowly removes her hood and her cloak. Ruin spits out the tea he was drinking and gasps out loud. Oh my god! The woman had glowing blonde hair with amazing clear blue eyes. She looked to be some kind of royalty. There was no NPC tag over her head, but there was a health bar and a single name. Frigga. Well, Goddess, my dear fairy, Frigga gives a little bow. Who? Klein says, with that normal I am totally lost look on his face. Queen Frigga of Asgard, the wife to Odin and the mother of Thor, Ruin explains. Klein just nods like he understands. My son Thor told me that ye helped him with the frost giant. Red One, you must be the man he gifted with a copy of his mighty hammer. Frigga walks over and kisses Klein softly on the cheek. I thank you for freeing him and trusting him, even when ye did not have to. Klein's face turns to bright red, as does Lifa's, but I think hers was out of anger or maybe jealousy. What can we do for you, my lady? I bow softly to her. Are you the leader, the one that claimed the golden sword? She asks. I did claim Excalibur, but I am no... Yes, he's our leader! Everyone chimed in at once. Frigga smiles. Truly, a great leader, one that does not see himself as so, but as many that follow him into battle. I come on behalf of my son. Did something happen to Thor? Klein asks. No, my other son, the beloved one. Baldur? Ruin answers quickly. Gods play favorites? Liz whispered over to Silica. Don't ask me. I'm as lost on everything that is going on here. I thought Thor Dude was an NPC, Silica whispers back. They are NPCs, but like Yui, they're so much more than a typical NPC, I explain. As for the son she is talking about, she means Baldur, one of her other sons. In Norse mythology, he is known as the beloved Baldur, Ruin explains. You are wise, young fairy. Frigga gives him a soft smile. I fear for his safety. But, your majesty, Baldur is invincible. At least, that's what the legends tell us, Ruin says, looking deep in thought. I fear now that Loki is free, that something will happen. Please, I beg of you, kind and noble fairies, please go to Baldur at his homeland of Berbelik. Frigga asks, her hands crossed in a prayer style. In front of all of us, a quest window pops up. Protect Baldur. I quickly scan the room, and as I do, so everyone nods at me. We hit the accept button at the same time. Frigga starts to glow a brilliant light. I thank you, fairies, and I wish you luck. Frigga disappears without a trace.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a group of men for any task that our tax-paying social justice system won't and cannot handle. Whether it's rescues, scaring someone, murder, maybe someone owes you money, maybe you don't feel safe, then hire these amazing mutants. A team for any mission for any easy fee. Call the number on our screen for the Mutants for Hire now!
The sky city of Berbelik was absolutely stunning. It flies in the skies of Asgard, home of the Norse gods. My group and I were able to teleport to Asgard from the warp gate. Normally there would be nothing out of the ordinary about doing that, but Asgard was not one of the standard teleport locations in the game. However, after Frigga came and saw us, we all got a message saying that the Rainbow Bridge was now open to us, and it was signed Hamdall. Once we teleported to Asgard, we flew our way up to Berbelik. I can't really tell you how we knew where we were going, but we did. This flying city was just so amazing. I saw old Einkrad as I laid eyes on it for the first time. Other than Lifa, the rest of my friends had the same look on their faces. Maybe this is how Kaiba dreamed up the old floating castle. There was a deck on the north side of the island, so we landed there. I think this is the highest we have ever flown, Lifa says as we touch down. Maybe this being Asgard, the flying rules are different than Alfheim, Asuna says. Mommy, that can't be. Asgard is still part of the Alfheim Online mainframe. Yui flies onto Asuna's shoulders. Yui, I got a mission for you, little princess, I say. She stands up on Asuna's shoulder and salutes. I don't know what it is, but something feels off. I want you to find an uplink and get into the code and see, please. Right away, Daddy. Yui flies off. What about us? Sinon asks. Let's go looking for Baldur, guys, I reply. We head into the main part of the city. To say we stand out would be an understatement. Unlike when Frigga visited in our cabin, the Asgardians were giant. I am not a tall dude by far, but being in Berbelik, we were tiny. After a few laughs and points, we finally found out that Baldur was at the archery field outside of his castle. In the field, we find Baldur standing in front of a pillar with other people throwing all kinds of weapons at him. Like everyone here, he was huge. His build was all muscle with short brown hair. Over his left eye there was a scar and they were golden. His armor was somehow old and worn, yet it looked new and shiny. Next to him stood a flaming red sword. Okay, why are people shooting at him? Silica questions, looking at the large crowd. This is crazy. How are we to protect someone that is letting himself get shot at? Liz adds. It's because no weapon can hurt him, Bruin answers. Hail, little fairies, says a deep voice behind us.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. No, you right there. Are you a fan of Power Rangers? Do you like listening to people just randomly talk about all kinds of subjects? Well, then do I got the podcast for you. Zero to Hero, the podcast. Jim and Billy, the bulk and skull of podcasting, talk about everything from Power Rangers to Gundams to who has the better hairstyle. These guys don't care. It doesn't matter to these guys. They will talk about it. You need to go check them out. That's Zero to Hero, the podcast. On Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it, they're on there. So go check them out. Trust me, you'll enjoy it.
We all turn around to see Thor towering over us. Hey Thor, how are you? Klein asks, smiling a little strange. Hail, Red One. How is Mjolnir treating you? Thor asks. Klein just smiles. Hold on, can we back up? What do you mean no weapon can hurt him? Lifa asks. Thor starts to chuckle a deep throat chuckle. My brother is invulnerable. Then why did Frigga ask us to come watch over him? Klein questions. My dear mother seems afraid for us all, but more so for Baldur, the beloved one. She has nothing to worry about. See for yourself. Thor takes his hammer off of his side of his hip and chucks it right at Baldur. Baldur stumbles back a little bit, but does not fall. Then he begins to walk over to us. Hail, brother. Hail, Baldur. I'd like ye to meet some old allies of mine. Thor motions to us. Baldur smiles a warm smile. He seems to have a glow about him that just made him look welcoming. Hail, little fairies. Mother sent them to protect you, Thor says. What are they to do for me? They are so small, and I cannot be harmed by any weapon. Trust me, dear brother, they might be small, but they are very mighty. These brave warriors helped me to slay the king of the frost giant. Oh, so it's them fairies that you have been speaking praise of. I cleared my throat. Your mother, Queen Frigga, fears that your life is in danger, so she asked us to come. Baldur again starts to laugh. Worry not, little ones. I am safe, but as long as you are here, enjoy my city. Kind Baldur, we thank you for your generosity. Asuna gives him a small bow. The rest of us follow suit and bow also. Baldur nods and Thor and him walk off. Okay, what gives? Celica asks, looking at Asuna. There is no way he's going to let us keep guard of him, so it's really simple. We do it without him knowing. Asuna gives one of her famous soft smiles. Okay then, what's the plan? Sion asks. Let's split up. This way it seems as if we are checking out the city, I throw out. Yeah, why don't Klein, Leafa, you and I stick around here for now, Asuna says. Yeah, then Sion, Celica, Liz, and Ruin can go around town, I add. Why do we get the noob, Liz snaps. Hey, standing right here, you know, Ruin snaps back. I'm not just some lame noob anymore. Or did you forget who has Fenrir? It's okay. I will keep an eye on him. Sion locks arms with Ruin and the two blush. Good. Then it's all set. Let's switch places in about an hour. That way Baldur won't get suspicious, Asuna states. We all nod and split into our groups. My team heads for the castle, as that was the last place we saw Baldur headed, while Sion and her team head into town. As they disappear into the group, a bad feeling settles over me. I have not seen Yui in some time, and why would Frigga be so worried if there truly was no way to harm her son? I had more questions than I did answers, and I did not like that.
Don't forget to check out the playlist dubbed Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637. There you'll find all the stories and chapters that Cosplay Dude has on this channel. Now, on with the outro.
This podcast is a production of the Three Ranger Bros Studios, in association with Zio to Hero, the podcast.
Thank you very much for listening to this chapter. If you want to hear more fanfictions and storylines, I have plenty of other Tiger Tales channels that you guys should be checking out. I'm going to give you a list of all of them. There's Tiger Tales, the channel that started it all. There's Tiger Tales The Lost Stories, a channel dedicated to storylines with the first person view. Tiger Tales Game Over, a channel dedicated to video game storylines. Tiger Tales X, official crossover fanfictions co-on this channel. Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins, all my original storylines coming from myself go on that one. Then you have Tiger Tales One-Offs, a Tiger Tales channel dedicated to one-off storylines that have no continuation. We've also now expanded to podcasts, so make sure you check out everywhere you can listen to your podcast, the Fiction Fighters podcast, where you'll find a storyline called the Fiction Fighters, where fiction is power. I want to use this moment to thank all my supporters and the partners of Tiger Tales. First off, make sure you check out Cosplay Dude 637. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all the places you can find him and where you can listen to his fanfictions. First off, there's Power Rangers Universe 19, a podcast dedicated to Power Rangers and Kamen Rider storylines. You'll also find a few of my stories on there too. Then, you also got Sailor Moon E, a Sailor Moon dedicated podcast storyline. Then you have The Order, Cosplay Dude 67's original storyline goes on this podcast. Then you have the One Piece audio drama YouTube channel, audio drama dedicated to One Piece. Then you have Nostalgia Time, a YouTube channel dedicated to all fanfictions and storylines that are meant to make you feel nostalgic. You also have Marvel Universe 19, where you'll find Marvel related fanfictions. You can also find some of my storylines there too. Now, of course, me and Cosplay Dude 637 are part of a studio called the Three Ranger Bros Studios, so I'd like to mention the third member, Mark the Red Cornish Ranger, and his podcast, Naruto Comics, where he adapts comic books into audio dramas, and you can also find his original Power Ranger storylines there as well. A quick shout out to a few of my supporters. We have the If You Give a Dad a Podcast host, Jared. Make sure you check out his podcast, he interviews some amazing guests. The Zero to Hero podcast, the Bulk and Scholar podcasting, Billy and Jim, of course, have been there since the get-go, so make sure you check out the Zero to Hero podcast. Some of my stories wouldn't be here without the Author's Crown YouTube channel's host, A Crown, so make sure you check out the Author's Crown YouTube channel with his fanfictions there. Now, if you'd like to hear me interview content creators about their content, or geek about specific topics with a bunch of geeks, make sure you check out the Tiger Nexus podcast. My podcast can be found everywhere you can find your podcast, and we have a great time. We usually upload on Mondays. Now, of course, make sure you check out the links down below. It'll lead you to some of my other channels. I game on YouTube, I do artwork on YouTube, and I like to talk about movies, TV shows, and comic books on YouTube. So make sure you go check out the other channels. A huge thank you to everyone watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and of course hit that notification bell so you don't miss another chapter. Roar of passion, everybody, and I shall see you guys in the next one.
That before we can...
Don't touch my Pringles.